question right here. Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Wait, weren't you just over? You're the 8-year-old that was over there? Okay. Thanks for coming tonight.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's up? You want? We can take someone else and then we come back to you. I know what I'll do. Hey, I'll just.
Well, he wanted to.
Oh, you want to ask about time travel?
Yes, he wanted to know if you thought time travel is going to be a true thing in the future.
Do I think time travel will be a true thing in the future?
Yes, because of.
Okay, so your 8-year-old child wants to know about time travel. Your grandson, have you checked the basement to see if he's working on anything there? When small children want to learn about traveling through time, I would double check to see what kind of access he has to the tool shed. This is how you get the nemesises to superheroes, right? So right now, we think we can travel into the future. You can do that if you travel really fast. It's not clear whether we will ever be able to travel into the past. Because if you do, suppose you accidentally prevent your parents from meeting one another. Then you will never be born to have traveled back in time to have prevented them from meeting one another. So those are called paradoxes, and going backwards time travel is riddled with them. But there's an interesting. Have you ever seen the people with placards marching down the street saying, "What do we want? A time machine. When do we want it?" Doesn't matter. I'm thinking, if a time machine is ever invented in the future, you think we'd know about that because they come back and visit us. And they say they were from the future, right? And that hasn't happened yet. Not with anyone that we wouldn't otherwise judge to be sane. So maybe there are no time machines, or maybe a time machine was invented, and they took a poll of what event people would want to witness if they could travel back in time. You know the number one thing they wanted to witness? The sinking of the Titanic. And so maybe the Titanic sank because of all the time travelers overloading the boat. So, anyhow, until we actually have time machines, make sure Grandma takes you to see Back to the Future. Also, another kind of fun movie. It's a little weird, but it's fun. Is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Let's go back up top. Time for a few more questions. Yes.
So I was suggested this question by another audience member.
Oh, wait, start again and speak a little more slowly.
Okay, so another audience member suggested I ask this.
Why doesn't that audience member ask it that audience member's self?
I guess they're scared.
Scared? Am I scary?
A little.
Why do we call them hemorrhoids and not asteroids?
That's a good one. It's because you don't need to, because they're all hanging out near Uranus. Yes. Can I have a little more volume on my mic? I think you've been turning down my mic. I know I've been loud. Yes, go.
Okay, so I'm an aspiring astrophysicist at
Nice.
the school, and I was wondering if you have any tips for me?
Any tips for you? So, to study something and be an expert at it is hard. If it were easy, then everyone would be an expert in that very same thing. So when you choose classes to take, in high school you wouldn't have had that option, but in college and in graduate school, I think you should target the hardest possible classes that you can. Because you can take an easy class and then get a high grade, and then you can show your grade But you are not your grade, you are what you have learned. And if everything you've learned is what everyone else knows, no one will ever beat a path to your door. You will not be in a position to distinguish your path. We operate within an educational system where the grades are the highest measure of who and what you are. I once tweeted that schools, systems value grades more than we value learning, and that's why people cheat on exams. There's no other reason to cheat unless you care more about the grade than about what you learned. If we were a learning society, there would be no cheating. And you'd be rewarded for what you know, not for the grade. Now, of course, they correlate strongly, so don't get me wrong. But if you take a harder class and get a lower grade, at the end of that academic trajectory, you will be better off than having gotten a high grade in an easier class. So do not ever fear hard things. And if they take you a little longer, just keep at it. You will rise up to the top of that pyramid and lead the world. Okay. Couple more up top, yes, sir.
Thank you. The comedy team, Key and Peele, they do a spoof about you. I don't know, I'm just wondering what do you think about it? I just think they're hilarious, and I just want to know if you've ever seen it. What do you think about that?
So is that a radio voice or what? So what do you do with your voice?
Actually, I'm a middle school principal, but...
Oh! No, give it up for middle school principal. Yeah, hear his voice over the PA system. That'd be cool. Key and Peele, a comedy team, that had a show that they don't no longer do, but they're doing movies and things. They spoofed me at home. And one of them portrayed my wife, and the other portrayed me. And so there's a series of these, and they all have a similar theme. So my wife comes up to me and says, "Neil deGrasse Tyson, have you taken out the garbage yet?" And I get all Cosmosian on her, and I say, in the multiverse concept of string theory, there are an infinite number of universes, one of which we are repeating this conversation. And in fact, I do take out the garbage. So that should count as me having taken out the garbage. And then my wife goes, "Oh, okay." And so all these skits are me getting out of household work, but coming up with these excuses. It's hilarious. What they didn't know is that my wife has a PhD in mathematical physics, so she don't play that. No, that's not how that goes down in the Tyson household. Yes, down here. Right.
This kind of relates to a
A
question.
little closer to your mouth.
This kind of relates to a question that I would ask after this, but have you ever heard of or seen of the show Doctor Who?
Have you ever seen or heard of the show Doctor Who? Who do you think you're talking to? In fact, I have a whole Doctor Who section. I can't fit everything in this hall. This is a third of the stuff I could talk about. Okay? I have Doctor Who, I have Mary Poppins, I have, how's the name of that movie? So I had a whole section on Doctor Who and the fourth dimension, and how it is that in his time-traveling police call box, it's bigger on the inside. There's a lot of really cool stuff about Doctor Who. The thing is, most of it they get pretty right, or creatively, interestingly right, and so there's less there that they got wrong that I would talk about. And they try to get so much right that I'm not finding something that's right in the middle of what's wrong. So Doctor Who is less susceptible to this analysis. Plus, it's a TV show, and I focused on movies, but nonetheless, yes, so you're a Whovian. Yeah, the microphone?
Yes.
Yes, so that's very cool. You're totally in the geek set. And so,
Always.
do you have nightmares about exterminate? Do you have nightmares about them?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, my wife, who's a Whovian, had nightmares about the Daleks taking over the universe. Yeah. So okay, yeah. So maybe if we do this again, I'll fold in all the ones that were not here tonight, and then you come back and we talk about Doctor Who. Time for just a couple more questions. Up top, yes, go.
Hi, so I heard that recently you had the opportunity to play test an early version of the video game No Man's Sky. And if that's not true, then if you could look into it and then tweet about this maybe. But I'm wondering...
Wait, start that again. Wait.
So I read somewhere that you recently had the opportunity to play an early prototype of the video game No Man's Sky.
That I had it?
Yeah, and if you haven't...
Wait, where did you read this?
I think it was Game Informer. It was some video game name. But
On the internet?
No.
I don't remember. Like, maybe I did.
Well, if you could play it and then tweet the answer to this question then when it comes out. But my question is that given how they actually generate the universe in that game, I'm wondering how applicable that would be, in your opinion, to generating a real scale model of our actual universe, and then actually making it realistic. So,
okay, sure. So first I have to play the game and figure out what it is they attempted. What intrigues me is the possibility that we live in a simulation, such as what was portrayed in The Matrix. Because if we're a perfect simulation, how would we know? And I don't know how we would know. But it'd have to be an awesome simulation, reproducing everything we experience here, giving us the illusion of free will.
I meant more from a scientific standpoint, like just using the map they use in that game. And again, if you haven't played it,
I'll check it out.
But
I'll check it out. But generally, I don't tweet product names unless they're part of a whole fun thing.
I think you'd probably appreciate it. Just
okay, I'll check it out. Whoever told you that I already checked it out lied. Okay, yes.
So I just wanted to say that you're an inspiration to my 3 children and every kid out there, because I think science is really something that's important nowadays.
Can I say something right there?
Yeah.
I actually never target children. All of my commentary is for adults, because adults outnumber children 5-1. And adults vote, adults run the world, adults wield resources. The fate of the world rests in the behavior and conduct of adults. So that's who I target. If their kids will show up, that's fine. But I'm targeting adults. So that's why this is kind of a PG-13 show, not like a Disney show. So just a little point of information there. And people say, what can I do to help my kids learn science? You should learn science, okay? That's how you help your grandson, okay?
So my question was,
yes, question.
Jon Stewart never fixed the frickin' globe in The Daily Show.
No, he did not.
I think you should insist that Trevor Noah fixes it before you go on to...
No, Trevor Noah's globe turns in the right direction.
Does it? Okay.
Yes, it does. So I met him at a party in New York, and I'm going to be on there at some point. But I will not have a globe to complain about. If you didn't know, this is a story I don't often tell, but I'll say it now. And then I'll probably can only take 2 more questions, even though there's like 80 of you online. I'm sorry about this, so watch, you ready? So Jon Stewart in the day was very hard-hitting, and he's smart, he's witty, and he's always 2 steps ahead of you. Half the time the guests would be deer in the headlights, okay? And so I would always go on his show, like laden with information that I'd be talking about, juxtaposed with pop culture, so that no matter what he threw at me, I'd be able to have a rebuttal and not just be staring stupefied as he danced circles around me. Okay, one of the occasions, I had this thing in my back pocket that I was going to invoke if he got the better end of me. But what happened over the years, it became a love fest. And he said, tell me about the universe. And it was less trying to stump me and more just having fun. But I had something ready in case he got the better end of me. And the whole show ends, and I said, well, I will never get to use this again, so I better use it now. During the opening credits, your Earth globe is rotating in the wrong direction. Okay? That was going to be my comeback, my sort of immature comeback. Yeah, you got the battery, but so there, you know? And so I said it anyway, even though he didn't say anything to justify me exploding this. And then he said, son of a bitch! And then they faded to black. And so they never fixed the rotating Earth at the beginning credits. But I think I got the last laugh, because every subsequent time I went on, his staff would come up to me and psst, you know, before every show, he talks to the audience just to get them warmed up. And every single time, someone asks, when are you gonna fix the globe? So I got the last laugh on that one.
As you pointed out, the travel
Never, but anyway. All right, let me take several questions. I'm gonna go into soundbite mode, so we'll get a couple, and then we gotta call it a night. Up top, yes, go.
I don't actually have a question. I just
Okay, good. Now, I'm gonna show your sweatshirt. He's coming to the front. Okay, so I can't read it. What does it say? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Do you take a spelling class and do that? No, thank you. I'd seen my face and things on all kinds of things out there, and I'm flattered, but that was never really my intent. But I'm flattered that science can operate as a force on people's enthusiasm, and because the country and the world needs that going forward. Otherwise, we should all just move back to the cave, because that's where we would be headed anyway. Yeah, real quick, yes, go. Thank you for showing me.
I was going to ask about Doctor Who, but she already did. So I was wondering about my favorite part of Interstellar was how you could travel through time with gravity, although I thought it probably wasn't realistic because the acceleration would be too much. Just wondering what your favorite part of Interstellar was.
My favorite, I was confused a lot by what was in Interstellar. One of the producers wrote a book, a companion book called The Science of Interstellar, that explains everything. I would say my favorite part was just recognizing that the 5 leading actors, all marquee actors in their own right that have starred in their own movie, have all came together, and each one in that movie played a scientist or an engineer. That is without precedent in the history of movies. If you've ever seen lead characters, they're just some good-looking person who's not a scientist, and if they have a scientist, it's someone you don't want to be anyway. You don't care if they're in love, if they have kids, if they have a spouse. They just will tell you whether the world is going to end, and then you leave them alone. So this was scientists shown as real people with real families and real relationships, as it should have been happening decades ago. That, for me, was the most impressive part of that film.
Matthew McConaughey in Contact, less good as in Interstellar then.
The what you say?
Matthew McConaughey in Contact.
Oh yeah, he was
less good than in Interstellar.
Yeah, less good. Yeah, less good. Yes, last couple here.
There's this show I've been watching a lot, and in one of the episodes, someone takes perfume and puts it in like a glass, and then they like have like a spark that goes off inside the glass full of perfume, and then like the whole thing kind of like explodes a little bit, but like not
explodes a little bit. Okay.
It lights up and like there's like a. And I was just like wondering, is this realistic?
Is it realistic that perfume could explode?
Like not explode, but like just like.
Okay, here's something interesting. Ready? Most perfume has alcohol in it, and so if you take a perfume bottle and take a lighter and light it, and then spray the perfume into it, you'll see sparks, and it'll be quite interesting. So if you atomize flammable liquid, basically you'll get an explosion of some kind. And at least in this case, you'll be exploding with things that smell nice. It's a matter of whether there's either flammable substance in it. If you ever take an orange peel and squeeze it, and you get orange zest coming out, that is flammable. Take a candle, put it over a candle and do that, and it sparks. It's like a sparkle. I do that all the time as a kid. It's just fun seeing what ignites and what doesn't in your environment. Yes, real quick, go.
So real quick, on my bucket list to have a beer with you, and what better place than Milwaukee to do so. But my question is, they were talking about turning up the juice at CERN to start banging some particles together. How do we know that we're at the bottom of the rabbit hole, that if we don't just keep banging these things into each other, that we don't keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller particles?
Okay, so forgive me for the rest of the line. I'm going to end on that question. So sorry for the rest of you. So what happened? So you're asking these limits of physics. We keep going down the rabbit hole. And CERN, the European Center for Nuclear Research, but in French it's spelled CERN. So there we are pushing the envelope of energy in this universe, rivaling energies that existed at the Big Bang itself. Now, you want to know how far down it goes? As long as you can make even higher energy, you go there and find out what shows up. Is it a new kind of particle? Is it a portal to another dimension? Does something go backwards in time? Sometimes we can predict what we might find, like we did with the Higgs boson. This is the particle whose field grants mass to other particles that move through it. That's a badass particle. In fact, someone wrote a book called The God Particle. Because if you're going to be a particle, that's the one you want to be. The one that gives mass to the other particles. The CERN found that, we predicted it, it found it. Could it predict things? Could it find things we don't predict? Yes. Those are better than the things we predict, because then it usually opens up whole new branches, whole new vistas. If you're scared because we are probing the unknown, and you will not have been the first person to feel that way. The people don't go over the horizon, that's the edge of the earth, the unknown. The unknown perennially scares us. But just because it is unknown doesn't mean it's bad or dangerous. Most of the time, nearly all times, it's not. Now, could it be something so devastating, a black hole opens up and sucks all of Earth into it? That's a low-risk thing, actually. You could do the calculation and show that's not likely to happen. No, so the track record on this is very good, and so I wouldn't lose sleep over what could possibly happen there. And can I tell you my best Higgs boson joke? Okay, we'll end on my Higgs boson joke. We actually know who invented this joke. A guy named Brian Mallow, whose Twitter handle is science comedian. But such people exist out there. Okay, ready? Higgs boson walks into a church. Everybody gets silent on that. I battle tested this with a Jesuit priest, so we're cool here. You can listen and enjoy it, okay? Higgs boson walks into a church. The priest says, I'm sorry, we don't allow Higgs bosons in the church. And the Higgs boson says, but without me, you can't have mass. Milwaukee.